Hey guys, what is going on? It is Alexander Williamson here with the Secret History Living in Your Aquarium. How is it going? It's good to see everybody in here. We've got Fish and Floral. We've got Monster Fish Gal Lori. What's going on? We've got Patty's here. Mark Sterlson. Alejandro Rios. Hello. Um, and Dr. Anthony, Debbie Holding, Scott's Aquatics, I Hate Stupid People, Tank Tribe, Sage Lindsay. Let's see here. We've also got uh, David Rayner, Scott's Aquatics, Belinda's Crystals and Succulent Garden. I love succulent gardens. 3G, what's up? Kevin Rosenberg, what's up? Jason, or the degenerate, perverted, creepy webmaster fish keeper. Just kidding. Hippie John the Fisherman, Dave O, Collaborations and Curiosity, Crypt Keeper Aquatics. Who else do we have in here? Laura Sutton, welcome. Nano Aquarium Guy, welcome. We've got Craig also in here. If I missed you, you probably haven't spoken up yet because I'm going through StreamYard and I thought it was going to be on my computer. My computer was plugged in. The wall piece on a Mac like slides out downward, and the big chunky piece was in. The piece in my computer was in, but the sliding piece wasn't. So we're on a mobile device right now. So how is everybody doing? Today I wanted to let y'all take the lead because, you know, sometimes I rant on, and I felt like the gold tetra rundown video was pretty much me just nerding out for half an hour on gold tetras and ichthyologist history, which, by the way, I found a super cool paper when I was doing the research for that, and it was in a book of articles that had been scanned in England at Cambridge University, but it's actually from like Wichita, Kansas, and or no, Lawrence, Kansas. That's where it was from. And it's an article that an undergrad student wrote about her biggest inspirations that are women in the hobby early on, which I thought was really cool. I haven't read the article yet. I just found it. And it's long. It's like 60 some pages, but I'm kind of excited to read it. I hope it's a good article and everything, but I would love to find more, more ichthyologists in general, like finding out like the stories of their trip and like what they did during their time and so forth. Like, I just think it's really good to celebrate excellence, whether that's in discovery or preservation or conservation or being a nice person, whatever it is that you're good at or that you are just ahead of the general status quo in the world. I think those people should be celebrated. And since we all love fish here, I kind of want to dig up more of the interesting stories about the people that devote their lives to fish, the Dr. Anthonys of the world. Right, Dr. Anthony? So grab your favorite beverage and let's get this thing going. Now, if you have a question, it's real helpful if you guys hit the @ symbol or Shift 8 or whatever it is on your computer. What is it? Shift S, maybe? Uh, and then the Secret History Living in Your Aquarium if you have a question. Another little thing, little reminder. This month, tomorrow, when I come out with the next edition of 4 episodes of Fishery, which is fish news you probably won't use, but it's interesting. And it's news, newly published scholarly journal articles or anything in academia related to freshwater fish and the hobby, basically. If it's too boring, like just like, oh, we're talking about whitefish in Montana, like usually I won't talk about that. It's kind of got to apply to either like aquaculture or the hobby in an interesting way. And also I'll do like this day in history, like on that date, so and so discovered this or was born or stuff like that. So it's kind of a fun little series. And right now you can watch all of them pretty much, I think, are unlocked and listed as public for the month of March under the communities tab. So if you do want to support the channel extra, though, it's $1.99, and you can read an outline. And in the case of like the gold tetra and some of these, I actually write a verbatim script so that I can add it as subtitles to the video. And so I go over all the details, and you can search through it for, you know, if you just wanted to know the pH and the rivers that the fish came from or whatever, then you'd be able to do that with that info. And then below that, the thing that I really want to challenge everybody to do in this space, in this fish tube world, is to have sources. You can have opinions, that's great, but like I feel like our hobby has been full of opinions for a long time, and now we've got really great science to back things up. And so when there's not necessarily, it doesn't even need to be like the only way or the right way, but I think it's great to know when you find out something about you know, the way to keep killifish or to spawn killifish, and you have an article that says it was reproducible in a lab by doing X, Y, and Z, at least tells you one way. Now, it may not be the only way. Lots of people do things different ways, but I just feel like our hobby really lacks that as a whole, which is kind of interesting because we get pretty technical and nerdy arguing over Latin names or arguing over the best filtration or lighting or which cichlids are the best, you know, whatever it may be. We've got some pretty opinionated people, but very rarely do I see stuff cited as anything, you know, that has actually been quantifiably or objectively studied. So that's the challenge that I hope maybe some of my videos bring, is that when people are making videos on their channel, if they find an interesting article or if there is something that's new, like for instance, when I did the one about puffers changing gender, I definitely had to cite that because people will lose their bananas if you make a claim like that and can't back it up. But that's what I love to do, is find those weird claims that are backed up and make them. Let's see here. Yeah, Jimmy, you get a discount. You can go to the Aquatic Morning Show and watch that content for free. Now, I usually will list in the videos when I'm doing them, like, oh, this came from University of Exeter, and it's a 2005 study in the journal of blah, blah, blah by so-and-so. If it's some real interesting or integral part of the video or info, but that info is listed in a bibliography, and right now, this whole month of March, you guys can see that in the community tab. Like this last video, I think there's maybe 14 or 15 sources, and some of them are pretty interesting, like links to online holdings of, you know, maybe one university has scanned in 10 or even like 4 or 5 of like editions of a journal that doesn't exist anymore, or of even like graduate level papers or undergraduate level papers that were done by like people that later on became very famous and things like that. So there's some interesting stuff you find surfing the web archives in this hobby. But as always, I don't like to not teach or not share info that I've learned for money being the limiting factor. So that's why it's $1.99 if you guys want to support me. People can always throw more if they want to, but it's $1.99 that way. I also have Patreon too, obviously, but PayPal, Patreon, Venmo, you know, you guys, if you really want to throw money at me, you can do it a whole lot of different ways. But no, it really helps the channel so that I can take the time to go to the library or go over to the local university and actually find some kind of obscure research or go on little trips or get a new fish, things like that. And then the baseline of just keeping the fish room running, honestly. So yeah, things are good though in life, and I hope they're good in your life. Today, I kind of wanted to just see what sort of troubleshooting, what kind of issues, what kind of info is going around y'all's heads, and say hi to everyone because yesterday I was not really up to it. My wife had it's her birthday, and so we went and did this bingo thing, and I was at night, and I actually slept like all before it so that I'd have the energy and stamina to even just do like a 2-hour bingo thing. But hey, what's going on, George? Aquaballs, Collaborations of Curiosity, Lady Diane, Visine, S. So Washington elephant, that's right. I'm the woolly mammoth, the pachyderm from Puyallup. Jimmy P. Yeah, your senior discount is the Aquatic Morning Show because she shows all the episodes. This light is making me look really yellow. She shows all the episodes each day. But if you want them all at once, like just in a dump of information on Sunday or Monday, the best thing to do is pay $1.99, and then you can come and check it out on mine. Plus, get all those sources for all my other videos. Yeah, for real, Dr. Anthony is saying, don't super chat. Alex only get 30% of your super chats. It's actually you get 60% of it, but then that 60% gets taxed as a freelancer rate, which is 29%. So basically you get hit for 40% where YouTube takes it, 3% for the bank transfer, and then another 27, 28%, all the way up to 29%. Just depends on the situation or your state, but get hit that way. So it would be nice to encourage other people to, or do $1 super chat and then do a PayPal behind the scenes. Like if you want folks to know, just say, hey, I left you this on PayPal. And I think I'm going to start doing that too, honestly, because what YouTube already takes your money for your time and watching and every other thing you do. Plus they steal all your info and all that. So, yeah, it's a good point, Dr. Anthony, especially if it's something that was going to research or to charity. That's what's a real bummer. Like when we're raising money for someone, that's what's a bummer. Is like if we're raising money for somebody who's in need, who has cancer or whatever, and then they take 40% off the top, 3% from the bank. You got to pay taxes on that, and then we give it to them, and it's like, if we just given it straight to them, it's way better. So there's that. And then speaking of money, I'll get this out of the way while we're still talking about it. But I also obviously have merchandise. This is so bright that it's hard to see that. There we go. Merchandise. So on the front, this one has a little steampunk mechanical corridor and corridors. And over here on the back, it's got a, let's see, you guys see it? A realistic corridors trilineatus. Corridors trilineatus. And yeah, so there's that. Let's see here. So thank you so much. Hey, what's up, Mick? How's it going, man? Chris Salazar, you're gonna start streaming soon. Good to hear it, man. Too coolie for schoolie. Good to see you, sir. Oh, you're not feeling great. That's why you can't go live. I am sorry to hear that, George. Sorry, buddy. G'day. Arctic Winds, welcome also. Arctic Winds, so poetic, deep. Let's see here. Ian Atkins, what's up, brother? Anybody have any thoughts, questions, concerns? I am going to unmount y'all from this cradle of filth. And we're going to go look around the fish room until anybody has any questions. We're just going to look at new stuff. Also, I got new shrimp, which is really cool. Grant, Eater of Garden of Eater, who spawns wild caridina and fancy caridina, all sorts of different shrimp. He hooked me up with. I basically paid for the shipping, and he sent me a bunch of culls of different kinds of shrimp, like 4 different kinds of caridina, because I've had a lot of trouble in my tanks keeping caridina for more than about 6 months. So I'm determined to figure out which lines will do best, especially now that they've gotten so much hardier. I'm just want to figure it out. And the frustrating part for me is that I've always had water parameters that are, in theory, pretty good. And so I don't know what it is about my tanks or my water that has caused shrimp to last about 6 months, and that's it. The other thing is, I'll flip this around real quick. Do, 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 do. I think that's the one we want. I guess this one will work. No, we're going to go zoomed in. Okay. So, and again, if you have questions, just ask with an @ did yours die out after 6 months? Yes, they did, Belinda. It's very common. So this is the new Aquascape, obviously. I want to get a canister filter just because that is just like distracting, and it could be so tranquil. This is my new like me space. Also, I need to step up the liquid fertilizer, I think, because the Rotala H-Round is just not like blood red like it should be. It's like a peachy pink color mostly. Same with the Rotala Any, and this is a Stellatus Dawson's here, and then we've Stellatus Dawson's Mini, which is pretty cool looking actually. It's purple stem with purple under the leaves. Looks kind of like Limnophilia aromatica, only skinnier. There's the Limnophilia aromatica, purple and red under the leaves, green on top. And then this is what highlight Bacopa looks like, red. And then coming out, it goes back to green, and the stem alternates to red. Wacky little plant. He thinks he's people or something. And then we've got the Monte Carlo growing up there in the little tower of substrate. And we've got some mold growing, if you can see that, the white. It's actually like a blue color. I don't know. Yeah, you can probably see the blue slightly. It's like a sky blue mold on the wood above the water line, that is. So then the plant that you're looking at is Bulbitis hedulata out of water. That's what it looks like out of water. And then we've got Asian water fern or water sprite out of water, the big leaf variety also, which I'm trying to kind of graft onto these sticks. And also over here where we have real low TDS in our water, we get this buzz on every bit of wood that we get here and algae growth. And what it is it's a water mold. They call it a white water mold or a clear water mold, and it is like a milky color. Some there. And it's the tannins and the cellulose getting leached out and eaten by fungi and mold. Well, that's the same thing, and bacteria. And then after a month or so, it goes away. But the fish love it. The fish really love it. And the tetras are in here. Now, this isn't going to be a tetra tank. They're just in here for a photo shoot, basically. Just for vanity's sake, I suppose. Hey, K-Day, welcome. Bigfoot Fish Tanks, what's going on? Alex, if you reduce and starve nitrates, the reds will pop better for you. Yeah, that could be it too, actually, since the aqua soil is still, it had ammonia in it, and now it still has the nitrates are around like 40 or 50 parts per million because of it's only 5 weeks old, or 5 weeks old now, I guess, 4 or 5 weeks old. That's a good point. That is probably what it is that's causing that. Once that dies down, it'll be a lot better as for that. Kona Extreme, Alex, I have a question. Instead of using mangrove in brackish tank, could you use catappa tree instead because they grow near the beach in the ocean? I don't know about that one. Sorry, I don't know, but my guess is probably not unless they grow directly in brackish water. Soil and their roots are able to filter salt pretty darn well in a lot of species of plants and trees. And most of the species just straight up don't don't thrive, don't do well, don't like it. They do not like it at all. The salt in their lives. So um, that would be my guess. You know what? I just realized something. I don't. Are you still with me? All right, sorry. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but I had music playing, and I that probably just demonetized everything. Um, Hertz from Romania here. How about you talk about 100% vegetarian fish that goes well with your shrimp? Freeing your mind about buying two sets of food, just feed them grass. Hertz, I responded to your comment about that earlier, and Dr. Anthony's here, and so I'd be really curious to see if he has the same consensus as I do, because he definitely knows way more about that kind of stuff than I do. But the thing that I was, kind of interested to learn back when I was curious what fish are vegetarians is that almost none are vegans or vegetarians, and that almost every fish out there will eat microcrustaceans. They'll obviously eat biofilm, so that's up to you if you want to count that as a food or whatnot. And then obviously they eat algae, but most of them will eat, planaria or paramecium or planaria or detritus worms, insect larvae, you name it. In that sense, they will eat pretty much anything in the realm of meaty little critters. It's just we don't see that, or they don't need that as the bulk of their diet. Like for instance, I've seen pretty much every fish other than the panda loach and the autocinclus eating like baby shrimp or eating scuds or eating some sort of critter uh, at some time or another. Even, plecos that are supposed to just munch on algae and wood all day, they'll definitely eat that. So I am not actually knowing. I don't know if there is. I don't know if there is actually a truly a vegan fish, so to speak. I would guess even the plecos and autocinclus that seemingly don't eat baby shrimp, because I'm also going by that as a standard, like which ones really would never eat even a newborn shrimp. And I don't think there's any fish other than maybe an autocinclus and maybe a panda loach. But at the same time, I know panda loaches in the wild are listed as eating micro crustaceans and plankton. So yeah, but that is an interesting thought. Um, let's see here. Brian has an interesting question, which is how small of an object can fish see or otherwise detect in the best of circumstances? So I know for a fact that they can see single-celled like amoebas and paramecium in a lot of, especially in the small species. I watch these fish in this tank go crazy for live, samples of food all the time. So I assume most of the smaller fish, if you think about it, if you scale down our body 100 times or whatever it is, 1,000 times for the mass, and then scaled what we deal with as possible food, I feel like the equivalent of like those paramecium for some of these nano fish, especially like a chili rasbora, would be like eating an M&M or something like that. maybe even a little smaller, maybe like a grain of rice. But still, in their world, you know, things evolve and adapt to know only what matters to them in their evolutionary history, basically. And so, whatever was important for survival, they're going to know. Hey, the Mophiensis betta female is hanging out. Never mind. She says, F you, I'm leaving. And then the guppies that Vinay sent me that I won online, there's a whole bunch of them in here now. There's a lot of little ones swimming around, but the main male is pretty colorful now, looking good. The Jinga Sephoria, and then there's these are supposedly Jinga rubra. I don't buy it. And then Mama passed away, giving birth to all these babies in here that are, I mean, they're just all over still. But I don't know. I don't know. I think there's some weird mutt of a guppy, but I only paid $10 for like five different guppies. So who cares? Let's see here. So let's see here. Alex, which location of the panda loach keeps their juvenile color as it ages? The northern part, or the part from the park, which they only allow harvest once a year. And there's like 4 or 5 guys literally who have the permit from the Communist Party to go harvest, but more people than that are definitely harvesting because they show up in the trade as babies elsewhere frequently. And now they are finally learning how to breed them in captivity a little bit, but they haven't gotten it down en masse. So I think they're still coming out of the wild. But yeah, it's the northern ones. And, you know, it's a little bit hard to tell because, I mean, they're going to be from the same river, and probably most people don't want to admit, like, oh, there's a legal one and an illegal one. Yeah, I committed a crime in a communist country, you know, or whatever China is these days, whatever you want to call it. A five-headed troll monster that is part capitalism at its most extreme and part communism at its most extreme. I don't know. Anyways, let's see here. What is your current process for quarantining fish from a random source? From a random source, you're kind of looking at it like there's no other fish in this aquarium. I don't treat with antibiotics or anything unless it's wild caught. If it's wild caught, then I'll generally treat with an anti-parasitical. So like I'll do a general cure and a levamisole. Now levamisole is going to be Excel, or what is it called? Expel P? Is that what it's called? It's by they sell it. ZooMed sells it now, and Aquarium Co-op sells it now. Because Robert, their store manager, like the real physical store, he and I had talked for forever about like why doesn't anybody make this product? And finally, I guess Corey talked to them, and they were like, oh yeah, we should make that. So they started making that one, but it's a pretty gnarly, strong dewormer, and also works as other anti-parasitic medication in a lot of cases. So yeah, I do that, and then really I just feed them good food and let them hang out in a tank that doesn't have other fish in it, ideally, or that has other new fish in it that are also getting treated. But like wild plecos or wild corydoras, those are the hardest ones for me because they are always loaded with some sort of little gut parasite because they like eating at the bottom and where all the crap is. Now, if you guys remember this tank, this was the Blackwater tank, and I've got these fun little golden dwarf African 5-line barbs, or whatever you want to call them. They're hopefully gonna go somewhere else into a bigger tank. But then we've also got the the other fish, and everybody's looking really good because the water's gotten nice and full of tannins, and so their colors are all really bright. But these macrostoma, betta macrostoma, the largest betta there is. These guys get like almost 6 inches long in some cases. They're gonna go bye-bye and go live with Alyssa Bentley, if you guys know her, who's a regular around the fish tube neighborhood of the woods. And I think I'm gonna trade her for some snow white plecos and a few other things. These two, there's a pair in here, but this is one of my quarantine tanks, and then this will soon be another quarantine tank when I sell off the babies. I'm probably going to keep about 5 or 6 of the babies and then sell off the rest of the Turkana jewel cichlid babies. Leaving them to their own devices, I think 16 survived out of 50. And that, you know, I could have split them up more. I know they're mean fish. I know the parents eat them. But I kind of wanted to see what the baseline was for when you just colony set them up. So there's that. Dropped a penny in my aquarium. What should I do? Take it out. That's about it. Metals shouldn't leach that quickly. It should be fine. So yeah. What's up, Kenny? How's it going, brother? Let's see here. Can firemouth cichlids be kept with Bolivian rams in a 75? Firemouths can be kind of mean. I would ask Kenny on that one. Danikin, can firemouths and could they be kept in a 75 with German blue rams? I don't know. I haven't kept firemouths enough to really know that. Kona Extreme Aquatics, how's it going? Alex, how would you go about breeding licorice gouramis? So I've done one. I've done it once, and what I did was I had small little 2.5 gallon tanks, and I basically started with plants and a substrate. Like I used a Brightwell substrate that was designed for shrimp that would actually encourage the pH to drop, but it also buffered it just slightly. So like a volcanic ash type situation. And then what I did was I added leaves and slowly brought the pH all the way down from around 6 or 6.5 to down into like 3.5 or 4. And then I also had what they call humic acid that I bought at the store or online on some store, and was able to add drops of it. It was like an instant Blackwater kind of thing, and that definitely did help a bit. Hey, my female Enigmatochromis lucanzi, she's hanging out in the open a bit. Let's see if we can get some light on her and see how her colors are doing. She's not very colorful today. But it's cool to see blue on what looks like a crib, you know, blue and purple as their body color. I always like them. And, you know, I still haven't gotten them to spawn. We're doing the fake out where the water is getting nice and warm, and the TDS is going up. And then we're going to, there's the male there. Then we're going to take cold water, like 10 degrees colder, and fill this tank back up to here. So that will make her think that it is the start of the monsoon or wet season in Africa, basically, hopefully. So that's the plan there. Also, I've been grabbing these little shrimp out of here, and just like before and after, like always, then I put them up in here in their shrimpy family hut, and all these little baby shrimp are hanging out. I don't know if you guys will be able to see them. Hold on. There's a bunch of baby shrimp like in here. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, there's probably 100 babies throughout this tank. Now, they don't seem to all make it. I don't know if the adults are picking on them or what, but they don't all make it. But they seem to do okay in this process where I just steal the pregnant females and then I put them back, and all the males stay in here all the time, except for 1 or 2 that are like my best looking of that. And also we've got the lovely These are the babies from the summer, the albino paradise fish. Some are still pretty small. It's a female here. You can actually see through her, and you can see that there's a spot for eggs. You can see how it's darker. See that like yellowish shadow in her belly? Her eggs will fill up there. In fact, she does have some eggs in her belly right now. And then he's got that same area, but it's solid black dark. It's not like yellow translucent, kind of glowing from the inside. Full of eggs, it's full of food. And you can always tell the difference by their tails. But in any case, there's a few of them in here, like 9. And they're hanging out. Some have gone over here, and then the adults from last year will be going outside soon. The first time that we go about 3 weeks without a freeze, they'll probably be going back outside. So they'll go out into the ponds, tubs again. So should be good. Let's see here. Thank you, Kenny. Rams like water about 82, firemouths like a temp of about 78, but the size of the tank both would love. But if you're leaning more towards rams, might consider discus or angels. Yeah, or even just like cribs or just something that is a little bit smaller. I don't know. I just feel like they're a little aggressive. Thingamatorium, what's up? Blue steel bass, how's it going? How do you recommend to fertilize a dirt substrate with a 10 or a 2-inch sand cap? Shove root tabs into the dirt, staggering the tab install? Yeah, exactly. You nailed it. What I do is I kind of imagine it as a chessboard, and I just take my finger usually and just poke them down. Especially if it's sandy, I'll just poke them straight down into the sand, usually using my pinky, honestly. And then make sure that I feel it goes into the substrate and get it in there an inch or two, and then kind of wiggle my finger as I come out, and then that way it closes the sand back up. Ooh, he's showing. So this is a new Acara. It's an Acara, a species related to the like blue Acara, but I can't remember. I'm totally spacing on the name. Latiacara, I think is the name of the genus, but he's yellow and bright blue, and I got him at the last swap. Is the screen supposed to be black? No. I hope everyone's screens are not black. That would be bad. Let's see here. Yeah, no problem. Oh, and here comes the Trilineatus Apisto doing his thing, showing off his little mohawk. Hey, some of the tetras are out. So these are the gold tetras. We've got, looks like 7 are out right now out of the 12. But you can really see the gold on some of them from certain angles, which if you didn't see my other video, it is a trematode or a parasite that scars them when they're young, and it causes those little crystals that make all fish shimmer. It takes those little crystals, and their body actually uses it like a scab on the little burrow holes of the parasite. So just like if you were swimming and you got like swimmer's itch or whatever, like duck mites or something, and you get the little dots all over, these would then basically close up with guanine as the part of their body that decides to fill in the new cells, which is odd. It's not, I mean, normally you would have, lipids and then some scar tissue and, proteins and things. This instead creates this hard surface on them, and it makes them look way more sparkly. So the ones that had a really severe infection when they're young are bright golden. Like this guy here is bright gold, especially when you see him from above. Whereas this one here is almost a blue color, like a blue with a little shimmer of gold because they were all wild, so they all had the infection. But it's interesting to me that they all get this infection in the wild when they're together, at least minorly. Some handle it way better than others. Some die also apparently from it, but they get it as when they're a young fish, and they don't. It's not communicable in the tank to other fish or to even other gold tetras, which is kind of an odd situation. You'd think that it would spread that way because in the wild it also spreads when they touch each other for mating. You know, when they rub against each other and when they school and shoal in a group. Um, so yeah, kind of an odd situation, but. Again, the other thing, and you can see the little cool blue fins they have here. These are only $3.99. I got them from the wet spot. Where's a good place to buy breather bags wholesale? The only spot that I buy them is through Aquatic Arts. I'm sure there's a cheaper place if you want to buy a bunch, but if you just want like 100 or so, I think they come out at like, I don't know, 30 or 40 cents a piece if you buy that many. So you can do that, and now all their dry goods have completely free shipping also. So like if you want to take advantage of that for now, the code is still secret history history secret, all in caps, and then 15, no spaces or anything. History secret 15 at aquaticarts.com, and you'll get 15% off. And then if you've already used that code recently, then you can use History Secret 10 and get 10% off. But they'll also give you they'll take down your info and email and throw it into a pot that will do giveaways from time to time from. The last giveaway was actually back in December, so we're totally due for a few $100 giveaways of some gift cards. So yeah. Oh, that's the one, Mick. Lydia, is it Lydia Cara Araguaya? That's the one. That is it. Lydia Cara Araguaya, if I'm saying that right. And usually he's like right in the front. He's not shy at all. Generally, I'm kind of surprised he's hiding out back there. Let's see if we can bring him to the fore. Hold on, let me move some of this Sawasser tong out of the way, and also make sure that his lady's okay as well, because he, cichlids. Am I right? Cichlids. Sometimes they're not the nicest to their spouses. Let me get some food for him, and we'll see if we can coax them out. Mohammed, hello. I have this disease that got 3 of my fish, one after the other. I haven't found out any info on it online. I don't know how to proceed. The infected fish eventually get dropsy in their back bends. It sounds a lot like too low of calcium, like a live bearer disorder. What kind of fish were they, Mohammed? I'd be interested to hear that. Oh, you guys are such pigs. You guys beg, 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 beg. Let's see if they come forward. Oh, yeah, there's the little, I think this is the female. Maybe Mick knows. That part of the back looks very male to me from cichlids, but I don't know these fish very well. But this was in the auction in our club. This was, quote unquote, a pair of them, and this was the female. The male is actually really, really pretty, covered in way brighter colors, but also it has the pointy dorsal. What are you doing? What is my Apisto doing? It's like turned black and pretending it's dead. I don't know if it's just downtrodden because of the friggin' Acaras or what the deal is. Let's get some of that stuff out of the way so that we can actually see. Let's see here. Hey, you're pretty colored up too right now, my samurai gourami. All right, so if we get some of, oh, I can see you right now. You were hiding right behind her. Come on, buddy. You don't fit in that cave. You're not gonna make it in that cave, bud. Oh, come on. Come on. You're not that scared. You were a big, mean, tough guy when I got you. Now you're gonna hide? But there would be the male that is much more bright yellow, white tips, big blue and green, and all sorts of different colors showing on the body, compared to this one. So Mika, if you know, if that really is potentially a pair, I would appreciate it, because I only know so much about them. I kind of got them on a whim. Alex, so what is it in the wild that infection relies on to survive? They don't know for sure, but they think that perhaps it is that it gets the cycle that the parasite, it's a trematode, not a nematode, but a trematode, that it lives through, that it may get consumed by big fish. The little fish get consumed by big fish, and therefore in the belly of the big fish, like maybe it needs some crazy acidity or some probiotic condition or something that allows it to flourish, and that only happens in the gut of the fish that eats the little flashy ones. So it actually makes them flashy so that they have a higher chance of getting eaten by predators. This is the weirdest thing. I don't know why all these fish are just like frozen in motion. The pencil fish are all loving it, and she's not shy at all. But all the other ones are like frozen, like in friggin' stop animation. What is the deal? What are you guys doing? Hey, where'd you come from? I haven't seen the female ram in forever. She hides nonstop. Or not ram, Apisto, sorry. But I wasn't even sure if I should put them together, but for now, it seems like there isn't any aggression. They all just hide all the time. Let's see here. Oh, hey, Ginger. I hope you're doing well as well. Lady Akara sounds way fancier. Yes, it does. Um, Two fish were albino, so I could see their stomach was empty all the time. Does that indicate a stomach parasite? And what would I do to stop the spread? Probably, if you could see their stomach was empty, I mean, their stomach in most fish is really close to their eye and head. And then you'll see their intestine or their lower intestine runs very long through the body. So you may be assuming that the cavity in their belly is their stomach and that it's empty. So I'm think if I have a fish that you can see the same thing with, kind of like these ember tetras, like they always look like they've got an empty belly, but it's just because it's just because their belly is so far forward. But if that is the case, that's what you're seeing, and ember tetras now, of course, are hiding in the back, all of them. If that is the case in what you're seeing, then I would treat with an anti-parasitic. If they had worms, you would see the worms as a mass in the stomach. So, I mean, the other thing is usually that they could have some other nutrient deficiency, potassium, and then manganese, as well as a little bit of what's it called? Omega-3 and omega-6. All those really help them to digest and metabolize the nutrients that they do have, whereas they don't necessarily do so well with getting all their little micronutrients sometimes without that stuff. Any tips on gravel vacuuming sand without sucking it up into the tank? Yeah, definitely. You can throttle how much you're using it. So when I do it, I usually just hold the hose, like, so here's the back part of it, but I'll hold the hose in between the siphon and the gravel vac. I'll pinch it off like this, and somewhere between like that and this. So that'll slow it enough that you can kind of control it. But then beyond that, what I'll do is I will take either pantyhose or cheesecloth or even like any sort of fabric really, or netting, and put that over the gravel vac, and then that'll stop, you know, the finest stuff. But the problem is what'll happen is you'll get a bunch of debris stuck on that you put over there, and so sometimes you'll have to kind of really mash it up to get it to be small enough to come through there. So it's kind of not the best process. The better process is to just learn to gravel vac right from the top. And let me show you something real quick too about like whether it's gravel vacs or turkey basters or whatever. Generally, they'll start sucking up sand, and you can get some and then kind of push it back out. But like, see how I'm going to pick up this stuff? You can pick that stuff up and then toss it out in a bucket or wherever. And it won't actually suck up all the sand with it. Like the sand will go up with it into the thing. And right now this is actually cracked, so it's not getting good suction. But once you got the sand in there, the debris starts to fall onto the top of the sand. But if you do it again, the sand will get all stirred up. The lighter debris will go above the sand, and either the sand will fall out of there or all the stuff will fall out of there. But if you can get it to clog by sucking up enough sand, like, hold on, like so, you can then get the debris by doing it a few times to start stacking up on top. And then that way you can shake out the sand. This is true with the gravel vac too. Shake out the sand, and once you got that shaken out, you got all the debris that you can throw away. So that's how I do it, but there's not really a good answer. It's just kind of whatever works for you, honestly. Let's see here. Frank, history. I got 45-gallon, 1 foot wide that I want to put an Apistogramma in, and trout goodyids. Is there, or do you think Apistos would be able to breed safely in there and not be bullied? Yeah, probably. Trout goodyids are a little bit rambunctious. I mean, all goodyids are a little bit rambunctious. I've got some in here, some butterfly goodyids. And they're a little rambunctious, but they tend to stay at the top. And usually Apistos tend to stay at the bottom. So I think the fact that you got a tank that big, if you give them lots of caves and maybe build some like take a flat slate and put that in, and then maybe a few stones under it so that they really have some low to the ground shelter, that's usually a pretty good way to do it. To keep them kind of separated. I don't know where my goodyids are right now. I've got about 8 in here, of the tequila ones, the endangered ones. And my pain in the butt blue parrot / Arctic blue, here he is, golf ball, a Honduran red point / blood parrot, the Arctic, I don't know what to call him, Arctic cichlid, Arctic blue polar cichlid. He's just such he's such an asshole. He's so mean, and eats everything and kicks up the dirt and rips up the plants. Yeah, and he kind of keeps the goodyids in check. So, I mean, I wouldn't rule out doing goodyids and one other species. You know, maybe like a mid-sized Danio. Like a Kyphit Danio, which is peaceful but moves all the time, is always scooting around. It might be all a little too hectic for Apistos, but I mean, at the same time, I think between those two fish, they'd keep each other busy, and the Apistos would be left alone. Silver Creek Aquarius, what's up? How's it going? Wayne's Aquatics, what's up? Threadfin rainbow fish, I got those from Aquatic Arts quite a while ago now. I think I bought 6 originally, and I've only got 3 or 4 of them left. The 2 main males, and then there's a female there, and then there's another female somewhere that she's real shy. It's odd how they have personalities, but these 3 are outgoing, and then one of the females is shy. I got these Luminatus from Aquatic Arts too. And then I've also got some young Rhamnocentris in here now too that I moved down from this tank where I had all the rainbow fish and bettas mixed with cichlids like a weirdo. So I moved them. And then in here we've got my scarlet batis and my Somfong rasboras and my chili rasboras. Chili rasboras are up there. Also, this is kind of just my hatching tank for when I got something that's a small fish that's growing out. I'll either hatch a medium-sized fish in here. Now, there's something interesting going on here. I saw this little subdominant male, and he's got, oh man, I keep clicking on the picture like it's gonna focus it for us, but it looks like he's getting an infection on his tail, or he's got some real damaged tissue on his caudal peduncle. And what's odd about that is there's no fish in here other than another batis that could have done that to him. So another batis must have done that much damage to him, like actually chewed through the fin and got to the body. And now it looks like today, literally last night, he didn't have that white on him. So I'm going to have to treat him with a gram-positive antibiotic, which would be erythromycin or something like that, or Morrison. Anything like that should work because gram-positive, if you try to remember, positive as in outside, positive, up, air goes up, I don't know. But basically, the gram-positive bacterial antibiotics, they will get things that live in the air. So like wounds on the outside of the fish or in their mouth or eye. Whereas gram-negative tend to go for the internal and less oxygen-rich environments. It's not always true, but yes. You know, Dropsy is a hard one to stop. Hey Mick, were you saying that that is a female or it is not a female? I'm still confused. I read your comment about them. William Drollard, thanks for Seattle Fish Store recommendations. I was able to visit the Co-op and Denny's. Right on. Great aquarium manager, super helpful and nice. I picked up some black Madoka. Oh, I saw those black Madokas. Yeah, they were really nice. Zen Ginger, what's going on? How you doing? Wayne's Aquatics, what's up? Look like they are being bullied by the dominant male, so therefore go into hiding. Adding 5 to 8 more in the same size can make them less shy. Hard for a dominant one to control all of them. Like, yeah, they probably need a bigger tank in that case, like a 30 or 40 gallon. Let's see here. Yeah, keyhole cichlids. Yeah, or maybe I could get some you know, I still have some or what are they called? Golden dwarf cichlids over here. They hide a lot too, but they're in this tank down at the bottom. They live in those caves and pots down there, and they've had a few babies too. But the Nanacara anomalia or anomala, yeah. So I could probably throw them in to diffuse things. Son of Quack, your aquarium, do you have any experience with API Ammalock? Don't have Prime right now. Also, how do you know if there's actually working if the test still reads ammonia? Well, so what, let's see here. So I haven't had much experience with that. I always use Seachem Prime or Seachem Safe for my dechlorinators, just because they're straightforward. I don't have to know like, oh, they put aloe vera and this and that in there to I don't know, give the fish a massage or a facial or something. And that helps me just feel like I understand what's at play. But I have used like APIs. What's the other one? safeguard and stuff like that. I have tried it. It seemed to work okay, but I don't know about ammo lock. Other than it's probably a sulfur compound. It's a sulfur salt, probably just like everything else, and it was probably locked up. It probably locked up the ammonia into sulfur rings, basically, like surrounded the little molecules of ammonia, and then your biological filtration or any substance that reacts with ammonia, depending on how reactive it is, it can knock those pieces off of the sulfur salts and actually free the ammonia again. But usually those locking products only work, or even dechlorinator, when you use them to lock up your nitrates, nitrites, ammonia, any of the nitrogen based ones that you're using them to lock up. The real issue is that they only lock it up for somewhere between 36 and 70 hours or so, with about 48 hours being the usual. And then it starts to release it again, starts to degrade the compound, or your aquarium has broken down the issue. But if something's out of whack, not cycled, you either had an animal die or a lot of plants die, or your biological filtration cycle crashed, and that's why you've got the ammonia, unless you're like adding ammonia somehow, either from your municipal water or your Windex or something near the tank. I suppose that could. Upper Aquatics, welcome. So I don't know the answer about how to know if it's still good or anything like that. You can probably look online and see, but it is a compound that does break down over time, so I would be a little cautious if it's expired. I'd look at the expiration on it. Lewis 500, Fluval C2 and an AquaClear 20 and surface skimmer. Will that be enough for 29 gallon with lamp-eye killies, clown killies? Also, Funerites, it would be an African river biotope. That's kind of cool. I like that. AquaClear 20 and a small. You don't need the surface skimmer. I would just have some plants at the top, honestly. That would probably be more than enough to make them happy. Especially when you've got to hang off the back filter, even if it's super slow, like you've got on the lowest setting, it breaks up quite a bit of that surface stuff. So, yeah, that's a good point. Mick says that his experience is that Apistos will spawn in community tanks, but to get the fry to juvenile size or larger, you gotta move them to kind of a smaller tank that's more intimate, I guess. It's weird. I'm not seeing Maggie show up at all in the chat, which is odd. But I see other people talking to her. But hello, Maggie. Alex, the sand is a baby. Alex, the sand is in a baby arowana and stingray tank. So wish me luck. Oh man, that's cool. That's an awesome tank. Are you in Canada, or is it an African arowana? Oh, you got to see him in action for 15 minutes, 10 or 15 minutes. All right, guys, the next 10 or 15 minutes. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, wow. Look at the size of this red-tailed lake inlay female loach now. She has gotten she's probably almost 4 inches long, 3.5 inches long. I haven't seen her in forever. I only see the males, but she's been hiding in there getting huge. These guys are still just frozen. Very odd. I think this Wassertang is too much for them. There is that male. Yeah, I'm gonna throw all this Wassertang out. I think it's leave some in the corners, but most of it's going away. And the Potomac Eaton Gay, I love that plant. All this other stuff needs to go. This is Rotala Mini Butterfly, and then this is Rotala Super Red. I think I'll probably move the Apistos back to their own, like so they have their own setup again. When I put the parent Acara or Turkana Jewel Cichlids, I'm going to return these pair with some of their own babies when the babies are adults. Have you ever tried the Microbe Lift Extreme Conditioner? I just love the consistency of the liquid. Not too. I haven't tried that. No. Let's see here. Do fish get bored? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I know that they've shown that they get essentially sad or depressed, like especially fish that pair off, that bond and mate as a couple. But I don't know that you'd call it bored. I don't know how much they have to think about. They're more busy like, ooh, food, ooh, mating, ooh, this, ooh, that. And so I don't know if I'd categorize it as that. But perhaps they do get whatever you'd want to call it. Uh, not empathetic, but apathetic. They get apathetic. Alex, I'm in Australia, so it's a Saratoga. Oh, nice. An Australian arowana. Sweet. Alex, thanks for a very well said response. And yeah, unfortunately, my tap, I live in LA. Oh, weird. 1 part per million ammonia. Yeah. Well, you might want to just treat that. Man, you might even want to just have a bucket with like some filter media and an air stone in it. Some filter floss or an old filter pad, and just let it chill in a bucket, and then you'd always have fresh water on hand. Plus, then the chlorine would just evaporate out of that. How deep will apistogrammas dig? I'm going with at least 4 inches of substrate. They won't dig that deep. They don't seem to dig a lot. Not this, the apistos don't dig a ton in the sand. The cribs dig more. Pistos more like littered leaf debris and like thick planted vegetation and like under a stick or under a ledge. They will move some sand aside, but they don't like embark, at least any of the ones I've kept, they don't really start moving massive amounts of soil and earth or sand. Let's see here. The rarest plant in the hobby, it used to be Iguazo 2009 sword. Now, this is still a pretty rare one. It still goes for around $200 for this size of a plant, $200 or $300. And that is silver powder Berlin, Logonandremy boldi. And I've got another little sprout of it coming up there. It's also got a red variant over here, but it is just as metallic as Bucephalandra is, yet it can get up to 2-foot long leaves in a low light tank. I just don't have any tanks that are that big that are low light right now, honestly. So no, they're not, and they're not officially koi angels, actually, Kenny. They're surprisingly they were listed as, what were they called? They were called Manakapuru red shoulder albinos, pearl scales. And they're like pearl scale tiger was like the first part of their name, but they're actually the Manakapuru red shoulder variety. And then they're clearly not, they're not a true albino, but they're leucistic. The people just didn't know what to call them probably, but they're a pearl scale leucistic Manakapuru, and some have spots and some have very defined stripes that are red, and they get redder as they get older. So yeah, but I got them. They are locally being bred by, I think the guy's name is Leonard. I don't know him well, but I do know that he is at the local store aquariums, then he sells to quite a bit. This is what I use for dosing my tanks. Hold on. So here we've got, and this stuff's kind of expensive, but it's the best thing I've found for just not having algae all the time. And it's ADA Natural Aquarium Green Brighty is line, and there's green Brighty, this one, which is all the I don't know, manganese, zinc, a little bit of iron, a little bit of pretty much everything that you could need as far as like phosphates. There's no nitrates in it, which I love, but there's a very small amount of phosphates, and then there's magnesium, sulfur, boron, copper, iron, magnesium, molybdenum, zinc, boric acid, another form of elemental copper, all in low amounts. But it helps with the metabolism and the color of a lot of plants, especially when you have CO2. And then this one is just basically potassium. It's soluble K2O, which is just potash in water. And basically the problem with potassium is it's not a very good, the water cannot hold very much in solution. And so a lot of the other things you can really break up into small particles and then suspend in a everyday kind of once daily dosage regime type thing, but you can't with potassium. You can only put so much in solution before it falls out and turns into powder at the bottom. But basically, it's around a squirt per gallon if you're running CO2 every day with this stuff, if you're really going to do like a hardcore highlight aquascape. But as I said, I'm probably going to be in the phase now of spending an hour a day with a toothbrush cleaning off all the different algae that are trying to establish and putting in new plants and stones from other tanks so that it doesn't establish, so that it stays algae free. And that's really just because it is rocking and a rolling, cooking. This light is 6,500 or 6,800, I believe, lumens, whereas these full, I mean, you can see the difference. Even in a 20 long that's shallow, where it's straight on it, yeah, you can see the difference. And then there again, we've got the big old male. Cool looking dude. I wish I had a bigger tank right now for them. And then here's that other fish that I think is a female. But I really wish I had like another 40 breeder just for a group of them. But I only got 2. That's all the person that was breeding them had. And they're pretty hard to come by fish around here. I think they're pretty hard to come by around the world. Now, all my gobies are still doing pretty good. Of the Stiphodons that I have, there's still 3 species over here, or 4 species between these tanks, and there's still 4 species in here, and then there's 2 in the other room. So we got 10 species out of the 12 still alive, and then also the Schismatogobius Ammopluvulus, they're still good. And they eat the scuds out of this tank. So that's why I allow the scuds, the little swimmy bugs in the tank. That's why I let them continue to do their thing, is because they're such a good food source. Now, I haven't cleaned this tank with the turkey baster in a few days. It's been a busy last few days. My wife's birthday and just events and things, and then I wasn't feeling so hot. And same with when this tank leaked the other night. When was that? Friday night? Yeah, so just last night. But or no, 2 nights ago, I guess. Was it? Yeah, 2 nights ago. I still, because I could only lift a pound at a time, I still haven't taken the time to go back and forth, or 5 pounds at a time with this, because of the back surgery crap. So what else was I going to show you guys? Bunny Viper. Alex, if you had the opportunity to build a new home, what considerations would you put into a fish room in your typical? Oh, I would definitely. So if I had like all the money that I could ever want, um, yeah, you know, this house is only it's under 1,000 square feet. So the the real, I mean, I'd want probably at least 2 times the size of this 10 by 10 room because you know we have, I think it's to be exact, 920 square feet in our house is all. It's only a 2 bedroom house. It's just that we don't have kids or anything. And I used to have an art studio and graphic design studio. Now I've got a fish room. So I better keep somehow coming up with money being made out of it, or it will go bye-bye. But what I would do, hey, Carolyn, welcome, is I would add fish be okay 7 days without food. If they're adult fish, yeah, more than likely. And if it's a planted tank, like any of these, like lush as any of these with some algae and stuff, then they'll almost certainly be fine. Fry, maybe not. Um, Maybe fish that are real energetic with a high metabolism, maybe not, or some really big fish that's a carnivore that I don't know of off the top of my head. I could see having an issue, but almost all fish, and especially the bigger the fish, the longer they can usually go without food. Chili raspberries and stuff like that, they can't go more than 3 or 4 days without food, but there's always food in your tank. There's always microbes and little buggers for them to eat in there usually, unless you're like a clean freak and you're always gravel backing and scrubbing every plant or whatever. But yeah, what I would do is I would definitely put in a deep, like a cooking or wash sink, like a prep sink, like, you know, station. And above that, I'd have cabinets. I'd also have air lines all over. Mexicali, welcome. And then I would also have, let's see, I'd probably build the shelving myself, and I wouldn't have any bars. Um, like I'd do them like brace here, then not one for like 8 feet, and then a brace, and then another 8 feet. So yeah, like a 16-foot room or a 24-foot room, ideally. And then above it, I would stagger the braces so that they go the other way. But I'd probably have them made out of iron so they're strong. And I would definitely pick one size of tank and not do this weird Jenga or what, a Tetris type thing with all these different size tanks. Um, I would pick each row, like I'd have a row of 20 longs, I'd have a row of little 2.5 gallons, and then I'd have a row of probably 55s or 40s and another four. Yeah, probably have 2 rows of 40s, a row of 20s, and then a row at head height of um 2.5 gallons for like bettas and fry and stuff like that. That's what I would probably say I would want. Yeah, if you haven't hit that thumbs up and you're having a good time, I would appreciate it greatly. Also, this Boston fern finally has stopped shedding. Just being in this humid room, it's so much happier. It's gotten a lot brighter, like a yellowy color, but it's doing a lot better, less shedding. It was just dropping everything. You can see what a mess I've got going on here. The other night, I knocked everything over with one of these off this here. I pulled this cord taut, and it just cascaded everything. So I've got cleaning to do and all that, but just like I said, been busy. You guys see all the skeletons in all my closets. Also, I guess the last tank you haven't really looked at, CPDs. They're all doing good. There's about, I guess, 20 of them now, and so they're having some of their own babies. The babies are having babies, which tells you something. I mean, when some of the other fish, like the ones born months, and look at this gold tetra, dang, the ones born months and months later are still not even like grown up with color, with like the paradise fish. Yet CPDs, like 3 months after being born, they're starting to pair off and have their own babies. Actually, it's more like 5 months with them. And then the last thing I was going to show you guys before I sign off is me shrimpies. So the wonderful guy, Grant Eater, he lives down in Florida, and he has a place called the Garden of Eater, TGOE shrimp.com. You can check out his shrimp, but he has all sorts of cool and really, really cheap prices for Caridina shrimp. And he sent me a bunch of culls, which was really nice so that I could see which ones would do okay. But these are raccoon shrimp we've got here. Then we've got cheetah shrimp over here, some babies and a few adults. And then we've also got, oh, no, these are stardust, blue stardust. They're actually really cool ones. They're metallic colored, Caridina. And then, oh, there's the adult. I was like, where is the adult? And then I got some tangerine tigers that are, I mean, I didn't realize they'd come this far as a line. They're incredibly yellow. And they're just chilling, like they just arrived in the mail in a package that got opened a few hours ago. And they're like way brighter than the Neocaridinas. I'm so impressed by those. And then over here, we have the cheetahs, which I already have some cheetahs in my in that low boy tank that's got the metallic live bearers in it, and they kind of look like these ones look a lot more like a blue bolt or something with a yellow tail. It's a little hard to see. I'll film them when they're in the when they're actually in their tanks being free willies, but I got to drip acclimate them, and I just opened them before. But there's that. Let's see here. Yeah. Speaking of shrimp, how about Apistos plus shrimp tanks? No. Apistos will definitely eat those immediately. Even the adult ones, they will gladly eat. They will lovingly, tenderly eat them immediately. I'm looking at you, Leocara or Leocara aguayensis. Looking at you. I don't know if you're a male or female, but I'm looking at you. I think that's the big old male back there. Like I said, don't know for sure, but I'm thinking it. But I'd really love more of these. I'd never seen them locally, and I'd love more of them. Also, he's ready for spawning, clearly, and the female's down hiding under the filter, so they may have another batch of babies already. That might be why you're seeing that. So I got to get rid of these. These guys are all like about 1.5 inches to 2 inches, and they start to turn red now when they eat, but they're siblings, and soon they're going to turn on each other, and it's going to be like the Hunger Games. So that's what's going on in here. Yeah, I've got those cheetahs, cheetah shrimp living in there, but I'm thinking I'm going to put some in here, some in here. They need real acidic water where they've been raised in the past. Maybe some up there too, actually. I don't know. So yeah, that's what's going on around here. I hope that I answered some questions for you. And I hope that oh, thanks, man. The Beckford pencilfish, you know, they're fun. I bred all of these ones, and the females now are so plump. They're so there's 2 of them that are just like full to the brim. If I were to put them in a little 2.5 gallon with some catappa leaves and marbles at the bottom, they would definitely spawn within a night if I fed them some live food. That's kind of what they're waiting for, is that trigger. Come on, buddy, come back. I really want to show you guys how beautiful this Kara knockoff is. I'll get some shots of him and put them on either Facebook or the community tab, though. All right, guys. Well, I gotta sign off. I gotta go work a graphic design gig for a while. But I will talk to y'all later, and I hope you have a wonderful evening. Don't forget to enter the raffle for only $50. You get a chance to win a trip to the Amazon, and you support a good cause over at Dr. Anthony and his wife Renee's wonderful escape in Iquitos, Peru. and go collecting, go sloth gazing, whatever it is you want to go do down in the jungle. Run around naked with a coconut on your head. I don't know. Probably aren't even coconuts there for all I know. But yeah, for $50, it's worth trying it out, and it's open to anyone in the world. And they'll fly you there and everything. Up to $2,000, two people worth of airfare. So pretty sweet deal. If you were interested in more details on this tank or on the gold tetras, I just did a really thorough deep dive into gold tetras. Lots of cool sources too, if you go check those out. Some cool old sources from the 1800s and stuff about Carl Ingemann and James Rodway and Marion Lee Ellis, who was married to who was it? Mark Ellis. And all ichthyologists from the early days. But I hope you guys have a good one, and I will talk to you later. And if you want to enter that raffle for the Amazon trip, then go to the Research Center for Ornamental Fish, the Amazon Research Center for Ornamental Fish. Hold on one sec. I gotta say goodbye. All right, so I'm back. So yeah, Kenny. No, there's no raffle. Yeah, don't want to ruin your odds. I know. What am I doing? I'm killing myself here. So yeah, and like I said, if you want to give money to a charitable cause like that, it's always good to do it off of YouTube. They just take so much money. So I really encourage, if you're going to give money, usually in people's descriptions or on their charity sites, there's usually a PayPal link, Venmo, Cash App, something. So that's a better way to do things in general with these nonprofits and stuff. Usually nonprofits have a tab where you can do any of that in your own whatever's best format. But just throwing that out there because two people have mentioned it, and it's true with YouTubers too, like me, obviously. So I will talk to you guys later. I hope you have a wonderful night, and I hope you're doing well. I hope you win the trip to the Amazon, and draws at the end of the month. But I'm gonna hang out with my wifey now, and I guess we're gonna. What soup are you making? Corn chowder. Corn chowder? Like the kind I like? Yay! It was my wife's birthday. When was it your birthday, honey?
Thursday.
How old are you? 15 now?
16.
16.
25.
25. Looking great. The soup looks good too.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I was like, I don't know where I was going with filming that. But all right, guys, I will talk to you later. Have a great night, everybody. Peace.